I decided that I wanted to start working towards unlocking our Ascension crossbows, so I started some prep work for it. First, I went to work on a bit more questing and started off by working on one of the tougher quests, Nomad's Requiem. Completing this quest will give us access to a Bloodwood tree, which will be handy later on when we have our Ascensions. This is a bit of a higher level quest that has quite a few fights throughout it and also a handful of simple puzzles to complete. Later on in the quest, you'll need to battle this decaying avatar. It's not particularly tough to fight, but it will occasionally spawn some roots that you must destroy, or else they'll heal the avatar. You do need to be pretty quick for this, so make sure you're ready for it to spawn. Once you've completed everything, you'll have a final battle against Nomad himself. This fight can be a little tough for anyone not used to PvM, so it can be worth reading up on his mechanics on the wiki first. For higher level players, it shouldn't be too difficult to take him out. This fight is also safe, which makes it a lot less spooky. And shortly after, the quest will be complete. Next up, I went and completed the Hunt for Solak, which is a simple mini-quest where you travel through the Chaos Tunnels. This is a prerequisite for Wild Gothic Sleeps, which I plan to do eventually to get our Dragon Limbs for our Ascensions. In the meantime, I'd finally gotten together enough Fortunate components to make our second EOF. I'll be putting a Dark Bow in this one, which will be a great upgrade to our ranged. And with any new toy, I had to go test it out and figured Araxxor would be a good fun place to use it. Now that we have a Bow EOF, I felt it was a good time to start actually getting into rots. We had some shields and energy from some leeches a friend let me do a while back, but I was wanting to get some more energies in preparation for trimmed masterwork. I also felt that since we had leeched some loot here previously, it was only fair that we do some real kills eventually. I didn't end up getting any more shields while we were at it, but it was still a lot of fun. I also hadn't tried playing around with the new ancient spells we unlocked last time, and Animate Dead seemed like it could be really handy during minions at Araxxor. So I decided to give it a go, and as expected, it made the kills a lot more chill. I feel like I'm taking like literally no damage from minions. This is actually absurd. We've also been in no short supply of leg pieces as usual. In between PvMing, I continued to level up our skills and was able to hit 95 fletching, giving us access to Scrimshaws. I made a few Scrimshaws of Vampirism, since I figured those would be best for now since we already have the Scripture of Jazz for our mage and ranged. I also ended up unlocking the auto screener for Archaeology, which should make it much more relaxing to do. And after a bit more work, we ended up finishing off level 99 in the skill as well. With plans on starting the Ascension grind, the last thing I wanted to make was the Scavenging 4 perk. Since we'll be killing a lot of Ascension creatures, this is a really great perk to have since it will net us a ton of components. It can be a little rare to get, so it took me a decent amount of tries, but it'll be super worth the effort. And when that made, it was time to start killing some Ascension creatures. After a bit of experimentation, I ended up deciding to go with Rararis instead of Caps because of their auto-aggression. This will technically be slower than doing Caps, but I was more interested in this part of the grind being AFK. Normally you'd get aggression potions for Caps, but I personally didn't want to risk the wilderness since we're on our last life, and it would be a real shame to lose it to a PKer. The reason I need to kill so many of these creatures is to get their keystone drops. There are 6 bosses called the Legios that each drop a signet, which can all be combined to make an Ascension crossbow. The catch with these bosses is that you can't fight them whenever you want, and instead need to use a keystone for each kill that you do. So essentially, you need to farm the keystones from the normal creatures to then have a chance at fighting the boss. I'm not personally a big fan of this kind of mechanic, but it is just how it is. After grinding out a bunch of keystones, we spent our first session fighting the Legios. These bosses aren't particularly tough and are often killed in around 15 seconds or so. While not very tough, some of them can be a bit dangerous with their mechanics. The most dangerous ones would be Tertius, Quartus, and Quintus. All of the Legios have a basic mechanic where they drop lightning where you're standing constantly, so you always need to keep moving around with these bosses. Tertius has the ability to spawn some of the Ascension creatures at points throughout the fight, and one of them can stun you, which can be quite deadly since you need to keep moving. Quartus has an ability that will teleport you next to him, which can easily throw you off or plant you into some lightning if you're not careful. Quintus will spawn lines of Ascension that deal similar damage to the lightning if you walk over it. I personally feel like this Legio is the most dangerous one, so I made sure to take extra care with it. Each of their moves can be be stopped by using devotion and praying against magic, so I just made sure to use that every time, and also went back towards retreat to reset its cooldown after each kill. This made Quintus a lot more bearable for me, and luckily for us, we ended up getting 2 Signets on our first run with the Legios, netting ourselves a Quartus and a Sextus Signet. Alright. Oh, we got one! Yay! Since we were on our way to Ascensions, I figured it was a good time to start gathering some Bakriminel Bolts. Bakriminel Bolts come in a variety of kinds, but are generally very powerful and are the main reason you want crossbows over our current Noxious longbow. We'll be using a lot of these in the future, which is why starting to stock up now is a good idea. I ended up going to do an hour of Kalphite King with my friend, and was pleasantly surprised by receiving both a main hand and an offhand Drygor in the same hour.
Congrats! Yes, let's go!
Pog. I made a conscious decision.
That's just me. Oh my god!
Yeah! Dude,
You're done!
There we go. Dual tier 90. Hell yeah, dude! Now that was a really easy set of tier 90s to get. On another round of Legios, we first ended up getting our Tertius Signet, which I mistakenly thought we already had at first. Oh man, well I guess we have all the Tertius in the world now. Why couldn't I get a different one? Oh wait, I didn't have this one. I'm stupid. I had Quartus. I thought I didn't need Tertius. Okay, well I'm happy then. Yay. Then we also ended up getting our Quintus Signet, leaving us with just Primus and Secundus away from our first Ascension. I wasn't sure if we were gonna get that. I wasn't overloaded. Oh. Yeah, we got it on the very last one. Hell yeah. Dude, we only need 2 more Signets for an Ascension. Holy shit. And over at Araxxor again, the frustration over all the leg pieces was starting to get to me.
2 kills.
Bang? No. Never a bang, you guys. It never is. Do you want me to just assemble this?
No.
100 mil.
But I'm what? Someone's gonna pay you 100 mil?
No, the spider leg. Do you want me to disassemble it?
No. What?
Why not?
It's worth 100?
Yeah.
No. No.
You don't even get noxious components from it. We can get some safe parts though.
Okay, please don't say okay. Please just exit. No.
I could do it right here.
Guys.
Oh man, here. Whoops. I got a variable comp.
Oh my god. No! That's my account.
You guys didn't
sorry.
see that. We'd also been continuing some hard mode Kerapac trios, but we weren't seeing any luck there yet. At this time, I'd been learning and practicing Solak over on my main account in preparation to take the hardcore there eventually. I was wanting to wait until we got at least 1 Ascension before giving him a go, but then an update came out where you could now teleport out of most bosses. With that being the case, we decided to fast track things and jump right into Solak now. Who knows, we could even spoon a blade and not have to worry much about the Ascensions anymore. Before jumping into Solak, I did need a couple more things, so I went and knocked out 99 Herblore using my penguin points, which first let me boost to make some power bursts of vitalities. Then I went and redeemed all the livid plants I'd been collecting from the traveling merchant to get Disruption Shield unlocked. With those in hand, it was time to do our first hardcore Iron Man Solak kill. Since we didn't have the portal yet, I ended up having to run all the way there while nervously thinking about how this fight will go. Once into it, I just kept a cool head, tried my best not to mess anything up, and luckily the kill went very smoothly. Sadly, we weren't spooned anything in our first hour at Solak, but it was still really cool to just be doing this boss at all. Afterwards, I was invited to learn Vorago in the hardcore as well, since it was currently team split week and the teleporting ability made things not as scary. I decided to boldly go for it and did my first ever Vorago kills while also on the hardcore. This was terrifying, but also a ton of fun because Vorago is just honestly a really cool boss. And to top everything off, our bravery was amazingly rewarded with a Seismic Wand at only 4 KC.
You can mull it now.
Okay. Very cool. And I got a wand!
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, dude.
Well, there goes your loot share.
Wowie. I honestly never even expected something like that to happen, and this is an insanely cool drop to get. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know what you thought down in the comments below. I'd also love it for you to come hang out with us on Twitch sometime, under the same name as my YouTube channel, BreaCheese. A link to my stream will be down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.